There is a breathing technique Jesus taught his inner circle that the Archons fear more than any prayer, any ritual, any religious practice. Not because it's complex, not because it requires years of training, but because it works immediately, and once you know it, they cannot stop you from using it. This technique was never written in the canonical Gospels. It was passed down orally from initiate to initiate through the secret lineages of Christian mystics who understood what Jesus really came to teach: how to escape the prison planet, how to break free from the Archonic farm, how to stop feeding the parasitic entities that harvest human consciousness. The Church suppressed this teaching because a soul that knows how to break free cannot be controlled. A believer who can exit the reincarnation trap at will has no need for institutional religion. A human who understands the power of conscious breath becomes ungovernable. Tonight, I will teach you the exact three-breath technique Jesus gave to his chosen ones. I will explain why 3 breaths is the perfect structure to disrupt Archonic attachment. I will show you what happens in your energy field when you do this correctly, and I will tell you why the Archons literally cannot stop this technique once you activate it. This is not theory. This is practical liberation, and by the end of this teaching, you will have a weapon the Archons cannot confiscate, cannot block, cannot overcome. Why Jesus taught breathing techniques. Before we learn the technique itself, you must understand why Jesus taught his disciples to use breath as a tool of spiritual warfare and liberation. The biblical text hints at this. In John 20:22, after his resurrection, Jesus appears to the disciples and does something strange. He breathed on them and said, "Receive the Holy Spirit." Why breathe on them? Why not just speak the words? Why not lay hands on them? Because Jesus understood what the ancient mystics knew. Breath is the bridge between body and spirit, between material and divine, between the prison and freedom. The Hebrew word for breath is ruach. The same word means spirit, wind, and breath. The Greek word is pneuma, same triple meaning. In every ancient tradition, breath and spirit are recognized as the same force manifesting on different levels. When you control your breath consciously, you are not just oxygenating your body, you are manipulating the interface between your physical form and your spiritual essence. You are accessing the control panel of your own consciousness. The Archons know this. They know that unconscious breathing keeps souls trapped. Shallow, automatic, fear-based breathing creates the low-frequency emotional states they feed on: anxiety, stress, panic, despair. When humans breathe unconsciously, they remain asleep. When humans breathe consciously with intention, they begin to wake up. And awakened humans are dangerous to the farm. This is why meditation traditions emphasize breath, why yogis practice pranayama, why mystics across cultures discovered the same truth. He who masters breath masters consciousness, and he who masters consciousness cannot be enslaved. Jesus didn't invent this knowledge. He accessed it. He remembered it. And he encoded the most powerful techniques into simple practices his followers could use anywhere, anytime, without ritual, without tools, without permission from any authority. 3 conscious breaths. That's all it takes to begin breaking Archonic attachment. Let me show you how. The 3-breath technique. Step by step. This technique has 3 breaths because 3 is the number of transformation, the number that bridges polarities, the number that creates movement from stagnation. The Archons attach to your energy field through hooks, energetic cords that connect to your emotional body, your mental body, your fear patterns, your shame, your anger, your lust. These hooks keep you in a low frequency. They trigger you into reactive states. They harvest your emotional energy every time you spiral into anxiety or rage or despair. But here's what the Archons cannot overcome. Conscious presence, combined with intentional breath, literally changes your frequency so fast they cannot maintain attachment. It's like trying to hold on to a rope that suddenly becomes electrified. They have to let go. The 3 breaths work as a sequence. Each breath does something specific. Miss one step, and the technique is less effective. Do all 3 correctly, and you will feel the shift immediately. Breath 1. The grounding breath, reclaiming your body. Sit or stand with your spine straight. Close your eyes. Place your awareness in your body, not in your thoughts, not in your worries, but in the physical sensation of being embodied right now. Breathe in slowly through your nose for a count of 4. As you breathe in, feel the breath entering your body as pure light. See it or sense it as brilliant white light filling your lungs, your chest, your belly. Hold the breath for a count of 4. As you hold, feel your body as a temple, as sacred space, as yours. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are the consciousness inhabiting this form. And right now, you are reclaiming it. Exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 4. As you exhale, release any foreign energy. Release any archonic attachment. Release any frequency that is not yours. See it leaving your body as dark smoke or shadow, expelled completely. This first breath grounds you. It brings you into your body fully. The Archons cannot attach to a soul that is fully present and embodied, because presence itself is a frequency they cannot match. They exist in distraction, in disassociation, in unconsciousness. When you become fully present, you become untouchable. Breath 2. The sovereign breath, reclaiming your power. Now that you are grounded and present, the second breath activates your sovereignty. This is where you remember, I am not a victim. I am not helpless. I am a divine being having a temporary human experience, and I have authority over my own energy field. Breathe in through your nose for a count of 4. As you breathe in, speak silently or aloud, I am sovereign. I am free. I am protected by the Christ within me. These words are not a petition. They are a declaration. You are not asking for sovereignty. You are claiming it. You are stating what is true, whether the Archons acknowledge it or not. Hold the breath for a count of 4. As you hold, feel the truth of these words anchoring in your energy field. Feel yourself expanding. Feel your light growing brighter. The Archons feed on victims, but you are not a victim. You are a sovereign being awakening to your power. Exhale through your mouth for a count of 4. As you exhale, speak, all attachments not of my highest good are severed now. This is the cutting. This is where energetic cords snap. This is where archonic hooks lose their grip, because you have declared your sovereignty and you have withdrawn your consent to be fed upon. The Archons operate on consent. They cannot force a truly awakened soul to feed them. They can only harvest those who remain unconscious, those who believe themselves powerless. But you just declared your power, and that declaration, spoken with conscious breath, creates a force field they cannot penetrate. Breath 3. The Christ breath, sealing your field. This third breath seals and protects. This is where you align with a frequency so high, so pure, that no low-frequency entity can approach. Breathe in through your nose for a count of 4. As you breathe in, invite the Christ consciousness, not the religious idea of Jesus, but the pure divine light that he embodied, to fill your entire being. See brilliant white gold light flooding every cell of your body. This is not about religion. This is about frequency. Christ consciousness is simply the highest human frequency. Unconditional love, perfect peace, fearless truth. The Archons cannot exist in this frequency. They literally cannot approach it. It burns them. Hold the breath for a count of 4. As you hold, feel yourself cocooned in this divine light, protected, sealed, impenetrable. Nothing that is not of the highest frequency can touch you here. Exhale through your mouth for a count of 4. As you exhale, speak, "I am sealed in the light of Christ. Only love may enter here." This final breath creates a boundary, a force field, an energetic seal that repels all low-frequency entities. And here's the crucial truth the Archons don't want you to know. Once you establish this seal with conscious intention, it remains active. You have changed your frequency. You have shifted your field. They can try to reattach. They will try. But you now have a tool you can use anytime, anywhere, in seconds, to reset your frequency and kick them off again. Why this technique cannot be stopped. The Archons have many strategies to keep humans enslaved. They control information. They manipulate fear. They create distractions. They suppress teachings. They infiltrate institutions. But there is one thing they absolutely cannot do. They cannot stop you from breathing consciously. This technique requires no tools, no ritual objects, no permission from any authority, no church, no priest, no special location, no specific time. You can do this in your car, in your office, in your bedroom, in the middle of a crowd, anywhere, anytime. The moment you feel anxiety rising, the moment you sense archonic attack, the moment you recognize you're being triggered into a low frequency, 3 conscious breaths and you reset. The Archons cannot confiscate your breath. They cannot make breathing illegal. They cannot block this technique with any external force because the power is not external. It's internal. It's your consciousness, your intention, your sovereign use of the bridge between body and spirit. This is why Jesus taught it. This is why it was passed down in secret. Because once you know this, you are no longer controllable. You are no longer farmable. You become a problem for the system. And that's exactly what you're meant to be. What happens when you do this correctly? Let me tell you what will happen when you practice this technique correctly. Immediately, you will feel a shift. Your anxiety will drop. Your racing thoughts will slow. You will feel more solid, more present, more here. This is not placebo. This is the actual effect of conscious breathing combined with sovereign intention. Within minutes, you may feel tingling in your hands or feet. You may feel warmth. You may feel a release of tension you didn't know you were holding. This is energetic cords snapping. This is archonic attachments losing their grip. Within hours, you will notice you respond differently to triggers. Things that would normally send you into anxiety or anger don't hook you the same way. You have space between stimulus and response. This is freedom beginning. Within days, the Archons will test you. They will try to re-establish attachment. They will send stronger triggers. They will try to pull you back into fear, into reaction, into unconsciousness. This is expected. This is not failure. This is confirmation that the technique is working and they are desperate to reclaim their food source. Every time they test you, do the 3 breaths again. Reset your frequency. Reclaim your sovereignty. Cut the cords. Seal your field. Within weeks, you will realize you are no longer being fed on the same way. Your energy levels increase. Your clarity increases. You sleep better. You feel more like yourself because you are taking back the energy that was being siphoned. Within months, you become someone the Archons cannot effectively farm. You are still human. You still have challenges, but you are no longer unconsciously feeding the parasitic system. You have woken up inside the farm and learned how to stop cooperating with your own imprisonment. This is the goal, not perfection, not instant enlightenment, but conscious liberation, practiced daily until you are no longer useful to the harvesters. The Archonic Counterattack. What they'll try. Here's what the Archons will do when they realize you know this technique. First, they'll try to make you forget. You'll learn this teaching tonight. Tomorrow, you'll wake up and something will distract you. You'll be busy. You'll forget to practice. Days will go by. The technique will fade from your awareness. This is the most common Archonic tactic, distraction. They know they can't stop the technique, so they make you forget you have it. Solution? Set a reminder. Practice the 3 breaths every morning when you wake up. Make it non-negotiable. 3 breaths, 2 minutes, to establish your sovereignty for the day. Second, they'll try to make you doubt it works. You'll do the technique and think, is this even real? Am I just breathing? Is anything actually happening? This is mental attack. The Archons seed doubt through the thought stream. They make you question your own experience, your own discernment, your own authority. Solution? Trust your direct experience. If you feel better after the 3 breaths, it worked. You don't need external validation. You don't need scientific studies. You know what you feel. Trust it. Third, they'll try to corrupt the technique. You'll encounter modified versions. Do 5 breaths, hold for 8 counts, add this visualization, combine it with this crystal. The Archons love to make simple things complicated. They love to make you dependent on external tools or authorities. They love to take a liberation technique and turn it back into a controllable ritual. Solution? Keep it pure. 3 breaths, 4 count in, 4 count hold, 4 count out. Grounding, sovereignty, sealing. That's it. Don't complicate it. Don't add to it. Simple is powerful. Fourth, they'll send people to mock you. That's just breathing. That's New Age nonsense. That's not real Christianity. They'll try to shame you out of using the technique. Solution? Let them talk. You don't need their approval. You don't need their understanding. You have a tool that works. Use it. Their mockery is proof they're threatened by your liberation. When to use the 3 breaths. Use this technique every morning when you wake up to establish your sovereign frequency for the day. Before bed, to clear any archonic attachments you accumulated during the day. When you feel anxiety rising, 3 breaths reset your nervous system. When you feel triggered into anger, fear, or reactivity, 3 breaths create space. After conflict or draining interactions, 3 breaths restore your energy. When you sense archonic attack, pressure in your head, sudden exhaustion, intrusive thoughts, 3 breaths break the connection. Before important decisions, 3 breaths clear mental fog and restore clarity. Anytime you feel not yourself, disconnected, dissociated, spaced out, 3 breaths bring you back. This technique is both shield and sword. It protects you from attachment, and it actively cuts existing cords. Use it liberally. Use it often. You cannot overuse conscious breathing.
Why Jesus called this prayer without ceasing. In 1 Thessalonians 5:17, Paul writes, "Pray without ceasing." How do you pray without ceasing? How do you maintain constant connection to the divine while living a human life with responsibilities, distractions, and challenges? This is not about religious prayer. This is not about petitioning God for hours every day. This is about maintaining conscious presence through intentional breath. The 3-breath technique is a reset, but the real practice is bringing consciousness to every breath throughout your day. Not 3 special breaths in the morning and then unconscious breathing the rest of the day, but returning again and again to conscious breath, remembering who you are, reclaiming your presence, maintaining your frequency. This is prayer without ceasing. This is constant communion with the divine within you. This is how you remain awake inside the farm while others sleep. Jesus knew the disciples couldn't sit in meditation for hours. They had to work, to teach, to travel, to live in the world. So he gave them something portable, something instant, something they could do anywhere. Conscious breath as spiritual practice. And 2,000 years later, this technique remains the simplest, most effective tool for breaking archonic attachment.
The bigger picture. Why you're being harvested. Before I close this teaching, you need to understand the bigger picture. Why do the Archons farm humanity? What are they harvesting? The Archons are beings that exist in lower spiritual dimensions. They cannot create. They can only consume. They cannot generate their own life force. They must harvest it from beings who can. Humans are creator beings. We are made in the image of the divine source. We have a spark of creative consciousness within us, but most humans never awaken to this power. Most humans live unconsciously, reactive, driven by fear and desire, constantly generating low-frequency emotional energy. And this energy, anxiety, anger, fear, shame, despair, is food for the Archons. They have built an entire system to keep humans generating these emotions. They control media to trigger fear. They create conflicts to generate anger. They promote materialism to create desire and dissatisfaction. They suppress truth to maintain confusion. They divide humanity to prevent unified awakening. The farm is designed to keep you unconscious and reactive. The harvest is your emotional energy. And the Archons have been running this operation for thousands of years. But here's what they didn't count on. Some souls wake up. Some souls remember who they are. Some souls stop cooperating with their own imprisonment. And once you wake up, once you stop feeding them, once you reclaim your sovereignty, you become a threat to the entire system. This is why Jesus came, not to start a religion, not to make you a better slave, but to wake you up, to teach you how to break free, to give you the keys to your own liberation. The 3-breath technique is one of those keys.
Your choice, farm animal or sovereign being. Right now, you have a choice. You can close this video and return to unconscious living. You can forget this technique. You can continue being farmed, continue feeding the Archons, continue cycling through the reincarnation trap until some future lifetime when, maybe, possibly, you'll be ready to wake up. Or you can practice the 3 breaths right now, tonight, before you sleep, and again tomorrow morning and every time you feel triggered or attacked or drained. You can choose to be a sovereign being awakening inside the farm and learning to stop cooperating with your own imprisonment. The Archons cannot stop you from making this choice. They cannot prevent you from breathing consciously. They cannot block this technique. All they can do is hope you'll forget, hope you'll doubt, hope you'll get distracted, hope you'll go back to sleep. Don't let them win. Jesus didn't teach his disciples complex theology. He taught them practical liberation. He taught them how to break free, how to stay free, how to walk through this world without being consumed by it. And now you have the same teaching. 3 conscious breaths, grounding, sovereignty, sealing. That's all it takes to begin breaking free. The Archons built a prison planet. Jesus showed the exit. And tonight, you found the key. The question is, will you use it?